Everybody, welcome back to OG Son Draws. Just testing out my new equipment. We're going to do just a quick little painting to test this thing out. We're going to see how it does, how it handles all this. So I'm just laying down some blue for the sky here. We're fixing to blend all this together. Then we'll start working on some clouds. Been pretty nice here lately. If this equipment works out good, I'll probably be doing a whole lot more of these type of videos where I just kind of walk you through doing some landscapes. I do a lot of live streaming too, and you can see from the screen I use Autodesk Sketchbook, and this is an XP pen Artist 22 Pro tablet, and I'm pretty partial to XP pen, just to tell you the truth. So we're going to go back to this acrylic pan brush, and we're just going to kind of start laying in some little cloudy patterns here. These are kind of inspired by some clouds I saw this afternoon out in my yard. This program does a really good job of kind of mimicking real paint and paintbrushes and how they react. So I thought we'd give it a try. I don't think I like that cloud. We'll just go right here. Kind of over, yeah. And we're going to see if I can pull this off. I think I can. So it's going to be some kind of subtle colors here. I say subtle, that's not real subtle there, is it? This will take a little bit of imagination and a little bit of blending here to make this work out right. Alright, so we're going to go back to our blender brushes, and this time I'm going to grab one that's a little smaller, and we're going to weaken it down. Let's try about 3%. Yeah. And all I'm really trying to do is all those little kind of circle-y things that brush puts in. Just kind of trying to break those up and bring these colors to the levels that I want them. And if we get too crazy with our blending and whatnot, then we'll just lay down some more color. Right now we're just kind of after the basic shapes and the basic color. I'm going to lift up a little bit. Okay. So now we got that, and now when I use this brush, I'm going to weaken it way down. And this will help me do is just kind of sharpen things up a little bit without having to go back and do so much blending. Just to kind of give it that illusion of detail. I'm going to shrink this brush way down. Now these white edges here, I will have to blend those just a little bit more to make them come out right. And we'll try it. It may not work at all, but then again it might. Alright. So now we're just gonna really nice and easily kind of blend this. And I think what some of the problem is I need to get some more of this dark blue up in here to kind of give it that shadow effect. But I'm just after the white and orange parts right now, so and I'm just really lightly blending this right now. So alright, so I'm going to kind of sample this dark blue, and I'm actually going to go just a little couple shades darker than that is. And we're going to go back down to our fan brush and start putting in some little bit darker areas. We'll go a little bigger with this. And then again we will blend this together a little bit more. It's a lot of blending, just laying your colors down then blending them out. But you don't want to blend all the little fine details out. But you don't want it to look too choppy either. But then again, you paint these things however you want to. So now I'm going to go big, kind of pull all this up a little bit just to give it a little bit more of a misty, dreamy look. I'm going to merge all these layers together. So now this is all one layer, and now I can kind of manipulate all this at once. Alright, well now we've got our basic shapes down. I'm going to start a new layer, And inside of Sketchbook, you can download all these great and wonderful brushes that people have made. This one is a cloud brush, so it's going to kind of help me give just a few more little quick details and shapes to these clouds. And since this is all pressure sensitive, depending on how hard I push, like if I do that, it's a little cloud, but if I do that, it's a big cloud. So, and this is kind of the basic shape you get. So, and it just depends on which direction you push this in. So, and you can just lay your clouds in with this, but I like to actually kind of sketch them out first. So I'm putting in, kind of doing this a little bit backwards. I'm doing my my light ones first. Those are just some little background clouds there. And then I'll do my darker ones. And I'll sample this again. And this will kind of just give me, like I said, just some basic cloud shapes up there. And what we're actually going to do is shrink that down and then turn up the flow just a little so that I can get these. And this is kind of tricky, trying to get these shadows in here. I may actually need to go a little darker. That's too dark. It's all just tricks. Tricks of the light. And I will actually, one more time, just blend a little bit of this out. Almost grabbed the wrong brush. Just a little bit. Nothing too dramatic. Okay. So there we've got our basic sky in. And when I go and apply my filters to this later, it'll help it even stand out even more. Now this area here, I'm going to go back to this original layer because I'm going to take and I'm actually going to blend all this kind of down to nothing here to a misty kind of nothing at the bottom. And that'll get us our kind of uniform looking sky. Yeah, some a little bit of maybe stormy clouds. Alright. Now we're going to go back to our acrylic brushes, and I got to find one that's pretty hefty here, and this one should do the trick. Actually, I like this one here because it's a little bit more squared off. And we're going to do just like old Bob Ross and start a mountain right here, way up in the sky like that. And these will be kind of rocky mountains. Maybe I There's another pretty good sized peak right there. Alright. Now we kind of got our basic mountain shapes in. We will take this little brush right here, and it's just a dry hairbrush. Hairbrush. You don't brush your hair with it, it's just what it's called. And we're just going to kind of start dragging this down. We'll make it a little bigger and a little stronger. And I kind of like these little late night, late afternoon kind of settings here. Now, when you're dragging all this stuff, make sure you're going in the angle that you want your mountains to actually be in. So that will help create that illusion. So we got these nice big dark mountains, peaks sticking out here. We're going to leave them right there and start a new layer. And we're going to go back to this fan brush again. And now we got to kind of pick out what color we're going to make these mountains. And honestly, it doesn't matter. You can make these purple, green, blue, gold, whatever you want to make them. It doesn't matter. But this little color right here is pretty neat, so we're going to grab that. And since our light's kind of coming, the golden part of the clouds is over here, so this side over here is where we'll throw in a few little highlights. And I'm just using that fan brush, and because it's not, it's not like a traditional paintbrush, I have to kind of do these little drags and effects manual or the hard way here, because I can't just grab a palette knife and drag them out the way you would if you were doing a Bob Ross. So you kind of have to plan things a little bit more when you're trying to do this traditional looking stuff digitally, but it can be done. So now we've got that color, and what I'm going to do is we're going to go with something even lighter. I want it to be lighter, but not a whole lot lighter. Yeah, something like that. And really, I'm just kind of throwing in some base color here. And we'll grab our little hairbrush again. And we're just going to kind of, that may be a little strong. Let's turn the flow down on that to about 10%. That way we can work it and take our time with it. Now remember too, when you're using this little brush here, that it's going to grab whatever you're dragging it across. So for instance, if I go above this and drag down, of course it's not going to do it. I finally set it up right, I guess. Say all these were together and you're dragging it, and if you grab up here, it's going to drag that color across. That's what I was trying to get at, but I actually set this one up correctly, so I don't have to worry about it. And these little peaks in the back, not a whole lot of detail on those, because we want them to appear farther away. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now another one of these little brushes that's built into Sketchbook. It's not built into Sketchbook, but you can download it for Sketchbook. Jason's free fantasy art set is one of my favorite sets, and because he's got these little rocky brushes and stuff, and you can come in here and throw in some nice little rocky effects. And actually what I need to do before I get all carried away here is do these on a new layer. So, and I'll show you why here in just a second, because if I put them on a new layer, I can kind of be sloppy with this. And now what I'll do is I'll switch to my eraser, and I'll turn my eraser down to 1%, and that way I can go in here and just start rubbing this stuff back out that I don't want that's hanging over the edge, or these dark spots. I can go back and start dragging those and keeping them dark instead of having that rock there, making it too bright. Now you can go in here and use a fan brush or whatever brush you want, and you can carve in all these little details, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you really want to be a traditionalist about it, that's probably, we're going to switch back to our brush. It's probably what you want to do. And sometimes this thing is a pain in the butt about switching back. But for me, I just want to do the art. So this side of the mountain's going to be kind of dark and purpley. And again, kind of that same concept. I don't want to go that big. I can just throw in a few little purpley details in here. Because honestly, this isn't even the main part of this painting just yet. So now again, we're going to go up here and grab this hair brush, and I'm going to turn. I got to switch to that brush. Like I said, sometimes one of the only hiccups I run into with this program, sometimes with this particular tablet, is it's sometimes a little tricky to switch from your eraser back to your brushes. And now I'm just kind of dragging this stuff down. I don't want to get crazy with it, but I don't want to just have these little kind of stamped out rocks just kind of doing all the work for me. I want to actually be able to color some of this in. And the points that are farther away, you know, you want a little less detail as you go out. So that'll kind of create that illusion of distance. And then right here, I'll kind of want that to go more straight down. That'll help that. Alright. This part right here looks a little weird, doesn't it? Okay. So we're pretty good on our rocky details so far here. We will go to our blending brush, and just down here at the bottom, I'm not worried about up on the mountain, but down here at the bottom we're going to kind of blend this into a mist. And I never really before understood why this was so important, but I do now. It's because when you put something in the foreground, This helps create that illusion of distance. And I'm having to kind of grab all these other layers individually, but it's not a big deal. And you'll see when I apply a filter to this later that it's going to look a whole lot different. Now, right here in our foreground, let me pick this brush again. I'm going to make this purely a black foreground, and we're trying to decide. We're going to go from here, because I think that this will stand out better against this lighter side of the mountain. Me being right-handed, a lot of the times my light source is from the left, just because it's easier for right-handed people to do that. So now we've got this little foreground going on here, and this is a little trick I'm going to show you. What you can do is you can duplicate this layer just like that, and you come up here and you change it to color on the layer that you've duplicated. And then when you go in and you start laying down this color, whichever color it is you pick, say let me get to this. So you pick this right here, if I can get anything to work for me here. It should only affect that layer, and it is, but let's see. I think because it's so black, it's not showing through there. Well, we'll just get rid of that whole thing then. We'll just do it the hard way. Heck with it. So what we'll do is kind of throw in some color here. I don't know why that wasn't working. If you guys know, let me know what I did wrong there. But I want to blend this out. I'm going to erase this edge off here. All that overspray. And we're going to throw in some rocks right here in the front. I'm going to make those black rocks, I said. Oh, here we go. Now I'm just throwing down a bunch of random patterns here. I want these to be fairly dark. And weird looking. And then we'll erase our overspray. And we'll go back. We need a little bit more, and then we'll erase that back off again. Okay. So down here, I'm actually going to kind of do the reverse. I'm going to sharpen this up so I can just cut this. Alright. Keep hitting the bottom of my tablet there. Sorry about that. Okay. Now let's get to the fun part of this thing. So one of my favorite brushes to use for this part is I go all the way black. Turn on my little line tool right here, and I don't want this to be a super big line, so what we're going to do is start, and here I go again, not switching my brush and my eraser. Alright, here we go. I'll learn this one of these days. Alright. So, in all of my paintings, you'll find out that I either usually fill the sky up with a tree or some kind of UFO. And guess which one we're doing today? Have you guessed it yet? So I like using this oil brush because it will help me, especially with this line tool, kind of create this illusion of a spaceship up here. And the thing is with my spaceships and my UFOs is I don't like them to just be traditional looking craft. I want them to look like something different. And sometimes I have to play with it for a little bit to get it the way I want it. I don't have any set rules or designs when I go to make these. I just start painting and see what happens. If that makes sense to you. One of the things I always like to have is these little hangy down things. I just like the way they look. I think it makes all of these spaceships look cool. I like to have the thought in your head that there's like no way that thing could ever land because of all those hangy down thingies, so it is definitely not from here. And we'll put like maybe a couple of them here. And again, all of this is just the illusion of detail. It's not any real detail. I haven't planned this out. I haven't, structured this ship out. I don't know if it's going this way or that way. That's kind of the fun of this whole thing, right? Because we don't know what in the heck this thing is. If you just came up over the top of this mountain peak here and saw this hanging in the sky, you would know that that's not supposed to be here. This little area right here is kind of bothering me, so let's just do that. Alright, so now we'll kind of create a few little shadowy dark spots here. Just to give this thing a little bit of shape. Okay. Now, we're going to go way back up here, and one of the standard custom or standard brushes that comes with this is the glow brush. And so I'm going to pick red as my color here. I'm going to put a few little red lights on this thing. Now, not every little point has to have a light on it, but it's pretty cool if you have a couple. And you can even have a few going down whatever this is. And we're going to make this like the brightest one, with that extra little glow around it. And we may even do a little one of these, but we're going to make that a different color. I'm actually going to make this yellow. And maybe if I can quit beating my puck up and throwing it around, maybe we'll even do a few little bursts on these. There we go. And that kind of gives me the look I'm after here. And down here on the little hangy down things, we'll put just a couple more lights. And this one here is going to be the brightest. And we're going to put the little burst on it. I'm going to make that pretty big, actually. Got to center it up a little better than that. Okay. So now we've got a nice little UFO in the sky. And I think down here we're going to go back to our oil brush. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to turn this line tool back off. And these oil brushes work really well at helping you kind of create your illusions here, because they want to act like real oil paint, so they kind of help you blend in with everything else here. Now this is no NASA astronaut here, as I hope I can make this obvious. He had a big ass middle finger there, didn't he? You know what? That may be enough. Let's see. So I'm going to a new layer because I'm going back to this big old glow brush, because there's a cool way to create this next effect here. So we're going to go like super lime green, and I want to make it big. And I'm just going to stick that right there, just like that. And then I'm going to grab this little guide tool here, and I'm going to change it to the circle. And we're going to make this pretty spherical. We're going to shrink it down. I'm going to go right about in the center of where I wanted that. And now we're going to go back to our eraser that keeps getting me in so much trouble. And we're going to cut that out. And then, so now you got kind of this transparent little helmet looking thing here. Now I can go back to the layer that had the guy on it and switch it back to my brush before I forget. Way back down here to my oil brushes again. Okay. Now this will all appear as if it's inside this bubble. We're actually going to make this guy like a little classic alien here. Give him some antennas and everything. Alright, now this is where our bubble is. We're going to go even one layer higher than that. And you can do this with either a airbrush or the glow brush, either one. And because our light's coming from this way, we're going to kind of put a little light right there reflecting. As you can see, the sun's kind of going down. I will grab the glow brush now, and we'll put a pretty hefty shine on this little helmet right here. And since it's a kind of a green little bubble, we'll do a green little glow. And the thing is with these glow brushes is the more you concentrate on one spot, it will actually get lighter and lighter till it's white like that. So and this is just something that you can play with digitally that you don't have the option to if you're trying to do this traditionally. So we're going to put a little shine coming off of his helmet, and we'll put one of these big old, there you go. Now over here I'm going to go back to my oil brush, and I'm going to turn my line tool back on, and I'm just going to go white for this. And then I'm going to have to erase this tiny little part, and try that again. So this tiny little part, turn the line tool off. There you go. I don't want it to be quite that long. And then we are going to kind of shadow this out just a little bit. And we'll put a few little shadows on our guy here, our little alien buddy. Put in some dark shadows over there, and you guys let me do all that without switching my dadgum brush back on again. There we go. Now it's making more sense. Alright, so we're going to turn this white again. I'm going to use kind of a big brush. Now, because the oil paint likes to blend so well, sometimes you gotta go in here and give it a little extra color to hide that background. Now when sometimes these things are so aggravating. That oil brush just keeps wanting to aggravate me. Yeah. And we're kind of getting where we want. Just gotta build it up. Alright. So we'll go up to this little hairbrush. And again, I am 100% most of this. I'm just making this up as I go. I'll come across a problem, like how am I going to make that look right, and I'll just try to remember which brushes I have available to me and kind of make the best move based on that. So maybe this guy's been marooned here, wherever this is, for a while, and he's waiting on this ship to come back and get him. Or maybe he's surrendering, I don't know. I think what we'll do is put some kind of little symbol on this. And what it is, I have no idea. I don't read whatever language that is he's wrote this in. Might be getting too crazy with symbols there. We'll put a little depth into this. And then we will add a little bit of shadow and color to this flag. I really don't think it needs a whole lot, but it does need a little bit. Okay, so we got our scene laid out here pretty good, pretty nice. And like I promised you, it's either going to be a UFO or a tree. This time we definitely went with the extraterrestrial look. I think right there on top of the stick. For whatever reason, I feel like there should be something there. And I feel like it should have just a touch of reflection on it. Alright. Now, we got all this done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this work. And I'm just going to call this alien guy for right now. I'll come up with some little name for it later. So now I've got all this basic work done here. We're going to throw a filter on it. And whatever you think about using filters in your digital artwork, that is between you and your artwork. It's what I do with mine. So what I got is I use Photor as one of my favorites. And it's got a lot of built-in effects, and they all do cool things, right? This tends to be my favorite, the nostalgic one, and I actually kind of dig the way it's looking on this one. So we'll start with that effect, and then we're going to go in here and edit this. I'm going to turn the contrast up just a hair. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it up as much as I can. Vignette, we will go about right there. Now you can play with the tints and stuff, and I kind of like this sickly green look. Really kind of gives it more of an otherworldly feel. Let me actually turn the brightness down just a hair. That contrast up just a touch. Just like that. So as you can see, nothing super dramatic. And now when I save it in Photor, it's going to be a high quality JPEG. And I could save it on Sketchbook the same way, but I usually just let Photor do the big heavy lifting. And then we will open it back up in Sketchbook and just kind of check everything out. So as you can see, that's after the filter, and this is before the filter. So, and honestly, speed is the main reason I use the filters, because I could go in here and do it all the hard way and make every color exactly the way I want it, but this is the way I choose to do it. So then down here in the corner, the most important part for me, so I'm going to sign this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will save this before I lose it, and this time I will save as a JPEG. Alien Guy 1, high quality. There you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the painting. Hopefully it's a little something different than what you've seen before, and I just want to show you all my little tips and tricks on how I create these things. Usually about an hour is how long I spend on a painting, and I usually get pretty good results. So come join me on a live stream sometime. I do live stream paintings, and I'll do this kind of stuff. Sometimes I do more traditional looking Bob Rossy stuff, but a lot of it's either sci-fi or creepy or something in between. But come and hang out on a live stream sometime with me. I'd love to have you there. Remember, Oji-san's got your back. Till the next video, Oji-san out.